Hamilton isn't waiting for a crash. It's already living in one. Look outside. For sale signs don't flip to sold, they flip to reduced. And every reduced isn't just their problem, it's your new reality. This isn't a market. Sellers sweating, buyers circling like predators, waiting for you to crack so they can name their price. Think about how fast this piled up. In 2021, Hamilton homeowners strutted like they hit the lottery. Multiple offers, 100K over ask, agents fist bumping in the driveway like they reinvented capitalism. Now, the same houses are begging for 25% less and still getting ghosted. That's not a soft landing, that's financial whiplash. The brutal part, this is only stage one. Here's the pattern nobody wants to talk about. Rates fall, unemployment rises, 12 to 18 months later, housing caves. 1995, 2001, 2008. The same fingerprint every single time. In Hamilton, we're already 6 months into that countdown. Tick tock. Here's why Hamilton bleeds faster. Toronto has Bay Street money. Vancouver has offshore lifelines. Hamilton, we've got paychecks that snap the second factories cut shifts or hospitals freeze budgets. And when incomes snap here, mortgages don't bend, they break. When they break, banks don't negotiate, they liquidate. One desperate comp and overnight your entire street is worth what your weakest neighbor just accepted. That's the contagion, not theory, math. Because once comps reset, every we'll just hold on fantasy goes up in flames. Equity doesn't erode politely, it melts like ice cream on asphalt in July. And here's the real killer, psychology. In 2021, people weren't just buying homes, they were buying faith. Faith that prices only went one way. Faith that even if they overpaid, the market would bail them out. Faith is dead. And when faith dies, math speeds up. Every lowball isn't just an offer, it's a verdict. Confidence just left the building. Look around Hamilton right now. The evidence isn't in board reports, it's on your street. Appraisals landing 150 to 200K short, closings collapsing because banks pull financing last minute, families walking away from deposits because losing 50 grand now is cheaper than bleeding 200 later. That's not a haircut, that's a limb. A family's retirement gone, a child's tuition gone, years of work gone. And here's the part homeowners can't face. We're not even at the bottom, we're on the cliff's edge. The headlines haven't caught up yet. By the time they print the story, your street will already be a headline. This is how collapse actually looks. One buyer gets cold feet, one closing fails, one neighbor caves 150 under. That becomes the new comp. And the comps don't care about your pride. They don't care about your kitchen reno or your fresh paint. They reset the market whether you like it or not. That's why waiting isn't neutral, it's lethal. Every month of hesitation is another 10 to 20 grand burned off your equity. Not on paper, gone. Here's the psychology shift nobody's ready for. In 2021, buyers fought like animals, terrified of missing out. Today, they're hunters. They wait, they stall. They know the longer you sweat, the cheaper you get. And every seller who caves proves them right. This isn't just numbers collapsing, it's confidence collapsing. And when confidence dies, recovery doesn't take months, it takes years. Detroit in 2008, Hamilton in 2017, and now here we are again in 2025. Every time we swore it was different. None of them were. This isn't different either. It's just next. If this feels uncomfortably real, it's because it is. That's why I built a free seller guide. Click below, grab it, and if you want straight answers about your place, feel free to book a quick call. Now let's pull the lens wider, because what's happening in Hamilton isn't random, it's mechanical. It's the same machine that crushed homeowners in the 90s, in 2008, and in 2017. The sequence never changes. Rates come down, unemployment goes up, 12 to 18 months later, housing caves. We're already 6 months into the countdown. Hamilton doesn't have a parachute. Toronto has Bay Street bonuses. Vancouver has offshore cash. In Hamilton, we have households stretched to the limit, mortgages 6 to 7% income, debt stacked higher than wages can carry. That's why this city bleeds first and bleeds worst. Think about how fragile the chain really is. Your neighbor loses hours at Stelco, a nurse gets cut from a hospital budget, a small business trims payroll, one missed paycheck becomes one missed mortgage becomes one power of sale, and that power of sale isn't just their problem, it's your new comp. That's how equity evaporates here. Not by decades, by weekends. Look at the early signals. Power of sale signs starting to pop in Ancaster and Stoney Creek, appraisals slashing 200K off deals before closings, banks tightening, pulling approvals at the last second. Those aren't blips. Those are the opening cracks of a flood. And once the flood hits, it doesn't nibble 10K off your home. It carves 100K chunks like it's nothing. Here's the toughest part. It doesn't take everyone cracking, it only takes a few. One desperate sale on your block, one forced liquidation down the street, and suddenly every will just hold firm neighbor is underwater. That's the contagion effect. Real estate doesn't collapse evenly. It collapses in dominoes. Condos fall first, then semis, then detached. And by the time it hits the last rung, the whole city is repriced. Hamilton's already halfway through the domino line. Condos that were 600K in 2021 are choking at 400K today. Detached homes that brush 1.2 million are now begging for 900 grand. That's not theory, that's happening right now. And here's where the psychology gets lethal. Buyers aren't afraid anymore. They're patient. They know the system is working in their favor. The longer they wait, the cheaper they get. And every desperate neighbor of yours proves them right. That's why the next 6 months aren't about winning, they're about survival. Because once arrears spike, once power of sales multiply, the comps don't just drag you down, they trap you under them. Hamilton isn't correcting, it's resetting. And resets don't stop politely. They run until the math is finished. Hamilton isn't drifting, it's plunging. And the question isn't if, it's whether you'll move before the floor disappears. Because here's the brutal reality. Once the bank steps in, it's game over. You don't get a wait out. You don't get a rebound. You don't even get to negotiate. You get a notice. You get liquidation, and your home, the one you thought was an asset, is suddenly a liability. That's the crossroads you're standing at. Option A, act while you're still holding the steering wheel. Option B, stall, pray for a better day, only to find that in a year or two, you've gotten crushed by the brutality of this market. One protects your family. The other buries them under comps that you didn't set. Think about the numbers. $235,000 gone from the average Hamilton home. That's not on paper, that's real money. That's your kids' tuition, that's your retirement, that's your freedom to move without begging a lender for permission. Lose it, and you're not just losing equity, you're losing control. And it gets worse, because this market doesn't need everyone to crack, it only needs a handful. One forced sale in Ancaster, one desperate listing in Stoney Creek, one failed closing on the mountain. Each one slices another 100 grand out of your net worth. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the comps don't negotiate, they dictate. That's the trap Hamilton homeowners are walking into. And every weekend you hold firm is another weekend closer to losing six figures than you can replace. So let me make this personal. Do you want to be the family who acted early and salvaged $200,000? Or the one who's still whispering, maybe it will bounce while the market wipes you out? Because history doesn't care about hope. Durham learned this in 2017, Waterloo in 2022, Detroit in 2008, and Hamilton is next. Here's the part no one will tell you. Waiting isn't safe. Waiting is surrender. It's procrastination. Every month you hesitate, another seller caves. Every comp resets, another $10,000 to $20,000 evaporates out of your life. Not someday, now. If you're still watching right now, I know two things. One, you're not average. Average people already clicked away. Number two, you're smart enough to act before the math finishes the job for you. And that's why I built something just for you. A free seller guide. Click the link below and grab it. And if you're ready for straight answers about your place, book a quick call with me. Because here's the bottom line. Hamilton isn't correcting, it's resetting. And resets don't stop until they're finished. So either you move now while you're still in control of your decision, or the bank moves for you. Your call.